thing where they like you can like use your phone internet.
Oh,
Actually,
yeah.
I freaking signed up for a T-Mobile hotspot just so I could actually have upload speed in the meantime. I've canceled like 4 streams. I'm pulling my hair out and I don't have a lot of it. So no, it was a disaster.
Wow.
So anyway, but I will get it uploaded soon, TM, and I'll be able to check it out, and obviously like take back any notes. But we'll have some goals for you to work on at the end of the session, regardless whether looking back or not. Okay, let me get your form pulled up here. I need my notebook actually. Let's see here. Freaking love team coaching sessions, and we're good to run over as well. I only have a 30-minute replay code review, which I'm going to do off stream anyway, so there's no rush here, so we can take as long as you guys need. What got you guys interested in team coaching?
The biggest thing is that recently we have been doing really bad when it comes to like, I don't know, trusting each other, and like,
Oh, no.
you said no.
I said oh no.
Communication.
Okay. Trust.
Communication is the biggest thing.
Trust and communication.
It's like
Okay.
we're like 2 different teams, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
one team over here and one team over.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Very common problem, but not a very easy problem to fix necessarily. Okay, makes sense. So I'm gonna get y'all's form pulled up here. Now, obviously, this was kind of a single form filled out, so where this form is wrong, you guys let out a blood-curdling scream, and we'll go over it. You guys scrimmage 3 times a week, GM1 SR. What do you hope to get out of the session? Improve macro decision-making, coordination, and rotations for tanks. Okay. Somebody just got thrown under the bus. I don't know who, but okay.
He continues to get thrown under the bus.
This says something about like something about Tank needs a haircut and needs to shower as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. What are your team's long-term and short-term goals? Short-term, win the tournament we are currently in, or at least do well. Is that CGL?
Yep.
Okay. And then long-term, make console Overwatch great again. All right.
That's the goal.
Unfortunately, the bad news for you guys is Makoga is not quite as catchy as MAGA. But maybe the motto will still work nonetheless. Makoga. What do you guys?
Like
maybe the hats are
Hawaii.
like green instead of red or something like that.
That's not good.
Okay. You'll need another fat white man for your mascot.
That's
okay.
me, baby.
It's him.
Make console Overwatch great again. I don't know. I'll pass out Zimming shirts. What do you feel is holding back your team from improving? Communication between tank and support line. Oh, now it's getting specific. Okay.
Yes.
Shot calling mid fight. Okay. How did you hear about Spilo from my feeding tank?
Yep. He's right there.
Man, this is getting razor sharp. It gets sharper and sharper the deeper in we go. All right. That's okay. You know
He's a
what?
big fan.
You know what they do? They always pick on the biggest person. That's what they do. Whenever I stream or I do my content, all chat does is make fun of me and taunt me. But you know what? I'm the bigger guy, and it's just jealousy. That's how it works. So you just gotta learn to take
That's what I'm gonna say. Yo, that's what I'm
when you're the
saying.
best looking, smartest, most charismatic person in the
We
room,
need to stop it.
you've got stuff to give. You could take some, right? These guys, they can't handle it. You can't.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just-
I've been taking it for years.
yeah. By the way, what tank do you main? What's your favorite tank?
Okay. I play a lot of Ryan, but he's trash. So I usually don't play this much.
He plays what?
I play Brawl tanks. Like
Okay.
I play a lot of
Brawl
James
specialist.
Okay.
You do
Brawl
not want to
tanks.
see him on Diva, baby.
Brawl tanks. So I'm smelling ego, no brain. That's kind of like the stereotype.
Yeah.
But you know what? Could be worse. Could be degenerate. It could be Hog, Doomfist, or Ball. Those guys don't brush their teeth. So okay. All right, could be worse. So you're not a Winston player, not a Diva player, so you're not quite there, but it's all right. All right, well, let's go down the list here. So all that being said, let's start with you, Blizzito. Is that how I pronounce your name? Blizzito? Okay. You are a tank player, yes? Okay. And then Demigodson. I'm not going to say Demigodson. What am I going to say and say? What should I call you? Demi. Okay. And what do you play? DPS. Flex DPS. Okay. And then Mile. Is that correct?
You can just call me Miles.
Miles. Roll.
Yes, sir.
And I play like mostly off tanks, like Diva.
Plays Diva.
Okay.
He
We're not
flexes
kidding.
because
You
no
don't
one's
play
trying to
Sigma.
run.
You don't play Zarya. You don't play Roadhog. It's
Oh, no,
Overwatch 2.
I play
Oh, no, he
Sigma
plays-
Zap,
he
but,
plays
like,
every-
No, I'm saying you don't play it in Overwatch 2. I guess it's no. You know what you do? You play Circuit Royale. That's what you do. You play Circuit Royale.
my
Yes,
job.
yes.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's you're the Circuit Royale player. Okay. And then Sinks.
You can just play
Yeah,
Sim.
Sinks. Okay. Roll.
Flex support.
Flex support. The real alpha chat. I knew I liked you. What's your favorite flex support? This is a test.
Favorite?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Ana.
Okay, that's a safe option. All right, I'll take it. All right, and then Woodland Lion 955. That's probably the most console name I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
It really is.
Okay.
It gets more console because they don't have a microphone.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. What role do they play?
You know, it might be bad to say.
Sombra, Symmetra, Specialist, Brig,
Ah,
Moira.
every
Moira,
group
Gil-
has the Degen. Okay.
yeah,
Sombra,
yeah.
Sim. You know why they have the Degen? Because you can always go back and go like, my life could always be worse. Not Symmetra. Okay, very important that we don't play
Yes,
Symmetra.
not Symmetra.
Okay, so you might
Yeah.
chew your fingernails, but you don't eat them. Okay, so that's good.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
good. All right, so we're missing somebody though. Who's not here? Support player
Oh yeah.
and a hit scan.
I'll be honest with you.
Unfortunately,
That's fine.
They're in the hospital.
Oh,
Never
jeez.
came back.
I'm sorry to hear
with
that.
Ligma, unfortunately.
Ah, Bligma. I got you. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. I fell for that one time on stream. To be fair, it was like 2019 or 2018, so I wasn't that boomer, but it was embarrassing. Okay. Anyway, okay. So everyone's here that needs to be here. I got everybody's roles, and now here comes the real juice. Now we've kind of danced around the subject because since the call started, but I want to know down the list, starting with the Alpha Chad Blazito. If you could prioritize one or two things that you think the team is lacking, the team needs to work on, whether it's communication, regular showering, scrim etiquette, compositions that you're playing, macro understanding of a specific composition. I mean, everything is fair game here. What would you prioritize as the big ones?
So if I could improve one singular thing about the team,
Or two.
I think it would be just
Cut out. Let's go.
yeah, so
That's
Yeah,
I guess we're perfect, guys. There's nothing to improve.
but we
So-
have a plan.
Yeah. Oh man, and
You get, like,
this is really awkward. You have a plan, and then is that what happens? Nothing happens. Like, no, go ahead, Blazito. Just loudly project. Yeah. That's what we're doing.
start yelling.
No, we have a plan,
Yes.
but like we execute it 50% of the time.
Oh my gosh.
They're going first. We're too slow.
Okay.
Or we're just looking at different things. Like,
Okay.
There's a distraction, and
Okay.
then some of us are going in, some of us are not.
Distracted, timing too slow, cutting out 50% of the time, just like your mic.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, and then timing. Okay, this makes sense. Demi, your thoughts, and you can echo. You don't have to come up with a creative new idea, but just like you can echo, you can add your own thoughts, you can disagree. I mean, this is a safe zone here, so you can do whatever you like.
I guess the first thing is sometimes it does feel like the tank and DPS line are just a completely separate entity from our support line in most
Okay.
comps.
Okay.
And then I'd say the second
Can I interrupt
time,
really fast? Is there a specific composition that you feel that's more the case, or is it just all across the board?
Either our dive or our JQ rush, because our support line gets like jumped like in both of those
Right.
very easily, and we don't do
Right.
anything about it.
Right. Interesting. Okay. Keep going. Sorry.
I'd say the second thing is a lot of these comps we just don't understand, like when do we engage, when do we like do this, when do we disengage, blah blah blah.
Okay. So don't understand comps. Serious split between front line, back line. Let's just put it simply that. Okay. Miles,
Sir.
your thoughts.
So I think a lot of it is like kind of echoing what everyone else was saying, but there's a big disconnect between frontline and backline, especially in comps where the tank kind of engages and initiates. Like a lot of the time, like we'll come up with a plan. We'll have the plan on paper. We'll go, and even though, let's just say hypothetically, the plan isn't perfect, usually if we all execute, it turns out decently. But then, in that mid-fight, there's kind of like a disconnect, and then our tank is off in the middle of nowhere. Like our backline's getting dove, and we kind of get split up, and then we die.
Okay.
So that happens. That's like kind of like a repeating pattern I see a lot. And also, I think a lot of it is like communication. Like sometimes, like we'll have issues where something is happening to somebody, and they're not paying attention and not communicating that, and then that kind of like that's like the catalyst that makes everything else kind of fall apart. At it seems at times.
Can you give an example of the last thing that you're saying, where like communication, somebody's
So,
not
like-
saying something?
Yeah, I got you. So sometimes like there'll be a point where like we're planning something, and then let's just for example we have like EMP and we're trying to set up for like I don't know, an EMP engage on some high ground on Hollywood.
Yeah.
And we go, and then we'll say we have EMP, but then the Sombra gets knocked out of invis, and they can't set up in time, and they don't communicate that, and then everyone initiates, but we don't have EMP, and then we lose. So something like that.
Planning gets screwed up, don't adjust. So if something gets conked out of place, everything just goes as usual, even though it really shouldn't go as usual. Okay. And it's you're saying as a failure to the person that might have been disrupted, they're not communicating that, hey guys, we need to adjust.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Sinks?
Here we go.
Everyone's got really good points.
I mean, you could echo the points that you think. Like, if you're like, hey, that point was good, that's helpful too.
I think the tank and DPS line, like being separate, is really a big thing because it's like consistently when it comes to matches that we have like a really hard time against, it would always be like the biggest problem that I've seen is like Tracer, Sombra, Core in our back with like Diva coming in from front or a Winston or whatever, and they instantly pop and they pull the trigger and like hack, clip me, I'm dead, like I can't do anything. And
Okay.
we're off like somewhere, like we're either too far up for them to come peel back for us, or we're not on a character that can peel back, like we're on like Ramatra or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay. So you're specifically, like we said, the support split and the DPS split. Okay. Woodland, if you want to break your keyboard or phone or whatever, you can type, even if it's just to echo what somebody else said, if you have any thoughts here. It's going to be like Twitter. You can only put it into so many words before the timer runs out, so good luck. Okay. Let me look through my notes here. You guys scrim 3 times a week, yeah? Consistently?
Correct.
Yeah, I'd say 3 to 2 times a week. Yeah.
2 to 3 times. Okay, sounds good. And how are the quality of those scrims in terms of like challenge, focus, effort?
Well, it is console, so I'd say 1 out of every 2 is good.
Okay, I just think it's the nature. I don't know if it's console. I think it's just the nature of the SR that you guys are scrimming in. With GM1 scrims, you're going to get either GM1 scrims, you're going to get GM5 scrims, or you're going to get top 500 scrims,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Everyone likes to flex their SR from like Season 2 Overwatch 1, and so you really don't know what you're going to get. So I feel like the goal at that point is just to like find good teams and then try to establish regular scrim partners.
That's what we did yesterday. I
But
knew
there
we
you
were
go.
going to play a good team.
Yeah.
So I specifically asked, and so yeah, we got
Perfect.
you.
Yeah, perfect.
But
perfect.
that's what we wanted. So I mean.
Okay, makes sense. Woodland Land, main problem split between tank and backline. Okay, perfect. So we definitely have an issue here. Now, my curiosity is like, this is not exactly a unique problem in terms of like, oh, we're getting split, but you guys seem like really hung up on the tank and backline split, which is super interesting to me. So I'm curious to see, you guys talked about compositions, you talked about dive, you talked about JQ, rush. What is that like the main like compositional spectrum you got, or you got more comps that you guys play too?
I think that's a good gist of it. I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah,
I'd say, like,
I mean
that's our most
I think
common
we're a
stuff.
brawl first kind of team,
Yeah,
or more like I'm a brawl first kind of player, and everyone else just follows that.
right.
I think that's a better way.
Right.
We gotta fall in line, boys.
Right, that's right, that's right. You either help the incompetent tank player or you lose. So
Yes, that is the game plan.
makes sense. Now, what support line do you run with the JQ? Kiri Lucio, Brig Lucio.
It's either Bap Lucio or Kiri Lucio. Kiri Lucio, we've been using her more recently, but if
Sure.
we have like a Sojourn or something, we go Baptiste instead of Kiri.
Makes sense. Okay, interesting. So main takeaways: tank, DPS, frontline, backline split. maybe a little bit struggling with like these mid-fight adjustments. Like we set it for a plan gets screwed up, we don't adjust. Those seem to be the big two. Would anyone else agree or disagree?
I would agree.
I agree.
Okay,
I agree.
now one thing that hasn't come up, that came up immediately, was trust. I think it was Sinks that said that. I don't remember who said that. Somebody was talking about trust earlier. Does anyone, whoever said that, you want to elaborate? Because I am curious.
That's me.
Okay.
Maybe it's just a me issue, but it's really hard to, how should I say this? It's hard to like follow. It's hard to follow up on plays when they just don't.
Parental moment.
Yep, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, yeah. You know how you deal with that
Happens.
issue? You set a trap door outside your door, like you dig a pit. You know, some preferably
moat.
like heroin needles at the bottom, or like an
Exactly.
arsenic.
Junkrat mine.
Yeah, anything.
Crap.
Honestly,
That's
just a
right.
big
Retirement.
brick at the bottom. Just one giant brick. Breaks ankles. Your job's done. You're good to go.
Sorry,
This
issues came up.
happened a couple times in the last script.
No.
Shut up! But all
Go
right.
ahead.
So, it might just be my issue, but when we do have like moments in between maps and stuff, we do
Mhm.
bring up issues that most of us agree with that are happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to like, it's hard to continue on the plays that we do in like the following map when we continue to see like the same problem like happen. Like, for example, last night we were talking about how our comp should be played, and we're like, oh, we should play this counter dive, we should play this not to engage. And the next map following that, after we had that conversation and agreed like, oh, we need to play this like safer, we need to play this for counter dive, we engage first instead of waiting for them to come into us or whatever. And it's like, do I really follow up on this? Like, do I go in? Like, do I just like, I don't know. Like, it's hard to, I don't know. Maybe just me for playing for KDA, but it's just hard to follow up on it.
So you're saying we've talked about this is how we want to handle the situation. The situation presents itself, and we don't do what we said we're going to do. And you're sitting there going, do I do what we're doing, or do I do what we said we're going to do? Do I just sit here and put my foot down like a stubborn 4-year-old and be like, no, this is not what we talked about? Or like, is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, kinda.
Kinda. Okay. Maybe I'm not nailing it
feel
on
like-
the head though. Elaborate.
Hmm.
Can you give me the specific example? You said the counter dive one, right?
Okay, yeah. So we're running what was it? It was
Orisa.
Orisa.
Orisa Bastion.
The Orisa
It was-
Bastion.
Yeah, we were trying out the new changes with the Orisa Bastion.
Yeah.
And we were
Right.
running like BAP with I think it was like
And
a
they were-
rig, or was it a Lucio or something like that?
It was, yeah.
Lucio on that map.
Yeah. And they were on a Queen comp.
And it's really hard for us to get onto them when they can just speed and rally out, right?
Mm,
So it's easier for us to collapse on them when they try to do something getting onto us.
okay.
That's what we thought about.
Sure.
So we lose first map to that. Like, we just kind of pretty much perma ran it down, And then second map, we kind of get our bearings. And then third map, we won on Lijiang. And then the next map, we run the same comp after we established our problems there. And then it was Hollywood. Not Hollywood, Havana.
Havana.
And it just, whatever we learned, that map, it just disappeared from our mindset pretty much. And it's
Would other people
really
agree with
weird.
that assessment?
Yeah.
Most
I
of the
agree.
time, yeah.
Okay. Why is that? Why does that happen?
I don't know, maybe because like
Uh,
I feel like we kind of just default into like the brawl rush thing, like when we don't
Right.
know what to do or we have
Yeah,
a
I
plan
feel
and we
it.
see an opportunity, like
yeah.
the first instinct is to just go.
Yeah.
I think it's really
Yeah, that is the thing.
we what is it? We play on autopilot, I think is the best description.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
the thing is,
We're not really like actively thinking about what we should do in a specific. We're like, we just say, oh, we should do this, and then when that situation comes up, we're not really like putting that at the forefront of our brain. We're kind of thinking about a million other things that we usually think about because we're on autopilot, and we're not really putting that new piece of information into our like thought like drain.
So
So
what's
it
the
doesn't really
solution?
enter. It's
Because you've
active
assessed
thinking.
it, right? Because you've
I don't
assessed it,
know.
right? Yeah, but how do you actively think more? Because like at this point, like we've been very philosophical about it, and you guys have nailed it right in the head. Yeah, it's autopilot. You guys have a default play style that you've done for years. You've built a habit, whether it's in your own individual play or however long that you guys. How long have you guys been together as a team?
Some of us have been together for 2 years.
Right, so long time, at least for parts of that. So you guys have a default autopilot playstyle, which is very effective sometimes. You do it, I'm sure, quite well. But sometimes it's not what you want to do. So when you try to break that autopilot or to adjust it or train it, it's going to take conscious effort, like you said, thinking. So you're like, okay, the solution is to think more. Well, yes, but once again, we ask ourselves, how? You see what I'm saying? So you tell me.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how? And this is where we could start to be something that's more actionable. Like not just like, oh, let's not answer this with like another, Freudian little side trail. What are we going to do?
I think I know like our main goal with our default play style, and I guess like we can change up how our main goal is, because like when we default go in no brain brawl mode, right? Like I hear this word at least a million times in like one match, and it's, oh, we gotta take tempo here, and like we can take tempo without having to like engage first. I think tempo is just winning fight, is like winning the fight. I don't think we have to engage first, do all this first. Like,
I think, yeah, you're right. I think it's like more like taking tempo is like different for each team comp. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think one tempo for one team comp like JQ comp wants to go like omega fast, but like team comp for like if you're playing Sig, you're not gonna like rush into the
Take
enemy
tempo.
team,
go in.
grasping the like you're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
You kind of
That's
want to play
what I do.
slow, you know.
Because like I feel like we apply that philosophy of taking tempo in one scenario into every scenario, and that's what kind of results in us like often making, I mean, like that's not necessarily the incorrect play, but like the play that's less optimal than if we were to like take our time and wait for them to fuck up before we do.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Stuff
like
like
the
that.
last night, right? We played Orisa, and we're just sending it like we were playing Ramatra.
Yeah, and we were walking in straight. We were walking. I mean, we were walking as a team. We were doing the brawl stuff well, but they were just on the comp that was better than that than we are, and we kind of just got fucked until we lost. So.
Right. So again, we kind of go back to the question, which is how do we fix this? Because you guys definitely diagnosed the issue, and not only diagnosed the issue, but I think everyone's on the same page about what the issue actually is. So how do we fix it? Because the reason why I'm being so like so much of an ass about this is because I think that you guys are going to learn that obviously that these issues are very common, right? And if it's not taking tempo, it's going to be like scrim culture or the compositions that you're running. So if you guys, especially if you guys have been together as a team so long, you need to be able to find out how to deal with situations like these in an actionable way. You guys got to be able to coach yourself, no? So what's the solution?
Yell at Blaze.
That happened. That's been happening for years.
No,
that's
but
what happened for years.
Listen, remember, was it 2 years ago CGL when we actually had like the whole entire T4 team and we almost won finals?
Yeah.
I'm talking about that.
Yeah, that was
You know how many people were yelling at you back then instead of just me? It was the literal entire team, and it was 10 times better. I think we need to rein you in, brother. We need to like lasso you or something.
I don't know. I was thinking
No,
like, I mean,
I want to figure out what was different from then and now, and apply that to now. I think it might have legitimately
back then we played a comp that was more, it was all about. We were playing we were really good at the 6-man comp with the Doom, and that comp was all about we just hard run it down, and that was the plan. Like if we ran it down with the Doom, and then if he would hit the cooldown and we win the fight. That was our plan. So it kind of like it kind of worked better with our mindset.
But we need to like, how do we adjust our mindset now that is like kind of perma stuck?
Yeah, exactly.
So
I
I
have
think
a proposition. Let me speak real quick. So I was thinking like, this is kind of stupid, but just humor me for a second. But like, I know our issue is walking forward. I mean, if we're in a situation where we want to have like a reactionary like counter dive sort of objective, like we could in our minds put like an invisible line on the map where our team should not go past unless completely necessary. If you want to play counter dive but we see an opportunity, maybe we can catch somebody off that's out of position. Like, we could do that, but if our objective is to counter dive, we should just stick to it. So maybe we set this invisible line. Do not go past this unless it will literally save your life and, you know, keep us from losing immediately. You know what I mean? Kind of just a way to like set boundaries instead of having us just kind of go off our own at like the slight prospect of maybe, you know, this certain
Like we need to
Dom.
focus on one thing specifically
exactly.
for our comp.
We
It's
kind
like
of-
okay,
Yeah,
we're trying to. I feel like we're trying to change our entire playstyle, and so we should just change like one thing. Like okay, if we're trying to change, like instead of going really far, we're gonna stay back. You'd be like okay, instead of just saying oh let's stay back, let's say okay let's not like use this specific cooldown to get in. Let's use this specific cooldown to like get out or something like that.
right.
So you're talking
that
not just
could
about
work.
not doing something. You're saying about instead, let's think about this.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're doing like a level 1 thinking we're like okay this isn't working. Let's not do it. Instead we're like this isn't working. Let's do this instead.
Sure.
Or something to that
Sure.
effect.
You guys are all along the right path. You're making it simple. You're giving yourself not just let's stop doing this, but let's start doing something else instead. You guys are brainstorming different ideas, different approaches. This is good. This is what you guys need to be doing. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to answer the question of how the best way to do it is. You guys will figure it out.
Like the worst teacher.
You guys will figure it out. Now, what I will say, I don't even know what he just said. What Blizzito, what did you just say?
We ignore
it's
him.
fine. You just reminded me of my physics teacher.
Okay. Well, guess what? I'm not going to give you the answer because you guys already are on the right path. Now, what I will say is some basic guidelines. Try to make it something that you need to do, not something that you need to not do. So we don't want to push. So what do we do instead? We don't just want to think about tempo, guys, tempo. Well, what do you want to think about instead, right? They don't. It's like quitting something, but you need to start something else instead. Also, you need to have open conversations. Also, you need to make the goal simple. Also, you don't necessarily have to know the answer right now. You just need to find the answer over time. That's the whole point. Because by finding that solution and that answer, you guys will learn more than if I just told you the answer right now. And honestly, I don't even know that there is a right answer because it depends team to team, right? I haven't worked with you guys long enough to know the answer. You guys will know better than I will. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So this is great. This conversation that we just had was great. Have more of those conversations when these type of team issues come up. Now, I'm not going to make you do it with the backline and frontline coordination because I do want to look at some gameplay to accompany that. However, let's say you guys are stuck at a deserted island without coaching resources. How would you be able to solve that issue? I hope by the same way that you're trying to solve the issue with tempo, right? Look at the gameplay, talk with each other. What's going on here? Why is this happening? What can we do to fix this, right? A lot of teams have had a lot of success by coaching themselves. All right, let's, any questions, guys? Okay, well, guess what? We already have one of your issues, which you guys talked about, like the trust and the tempo. Well, one of those, you don't necessarily have a solution, but you have something to try, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So then that's one checked off the box. And the greatest coach in the history of the universe. I don't have to say a word. Let's look at some...
ask the right questions.
Maybe. My point is, I'm being ironic here. My point is that you guys already have a lot of the knowledge and the capability to solve a lot of these issues on your own. I just need to kick you in the pants. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, my goal is to hopefully that you guys kick each other in the pants, just because it's funny to watch. No, but because it will actually be more productive. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. Why do I have to be here for this conversation? You know, kind of the theoretical question. But all right, let's take a look at some gameplay. Do you guys have a replay code or codes you want to look at? Specific comp?
I have the code.
Many.
All right.
Yep. It is in the chat.
Okay,
And,
let's take a look here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and warn you, as if you felt like Discord on console wasn't bad enough. My bitrate is going to be something else. So if it gets to be impossible to see, let me know, and I will be able to do absolutely nothing about it. No, I'll be able to pause it for a brief second, so hopefully it will be kind of like stabilize, and you'll be able to see a little bit easier what's going on your screen. So just let me know if you're like, I can see pixels, I literally can't see what's going on. It's going to be ugly regardless, but it needs to, if it's not visible, let me know. Okay.
It's visible.
Okay. Barely. Brilliant. Okay, as long as you guys can see the compositions and general positioning, it should be good to go. Now, why this map? Talk to me about this map. What happened?
Wait, what do you mean? Like, why did we? Oh, okay, never mind.
Why this?
Yeah.
I was gonna say something stupid, but I was gonna say something
we
stupid.
picked. Why
I
we
thought
picked
you
this
meant
map?
like, why are we playing this map?
No,
I
no,
was
no, no,
like,
no, 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 no. You jackasses! Don't you know you never play Lijiang Tower, my guys? You guys are
I
peasants.
know.
Just never play the map.
Okay,
Um,
what do you guys think?
Biggest reason why we picked this map. We played this scrim last night, and this was like both the worst. Like this is encapsulating pretty much how this first point will encapsulates like how like the rest of the scrim went.
Yeah.
But it also shows like steady improvement throughout the map, which is good, which is nice.
Okay. What improved throughout the map?
We won.
We
Eventually.
won. We won.
I appreciate the honesty. All right, results feel good. Can you have any
I
feel like
guesses?
we were
as to why you
more-
won?
I think the way that we played the comp changed towards the end of the map, and that's what helped us out a lot.
What changed?
And we swapped coverage. So we, at the beginning here, we are on like the Lucio, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're on the JQ with
Yeah.
also Lucio.
Yes.
We realize we get outs like so we're still in the mindset of we go in boop bop bop, right? At the beginning of this map.
Yeah.
And first fight shows it. This entire first point shows it, because every time that we tried to go in, they either just ran past Placido, because what is he supposed to do? You know, like he's gonna spear him a little bit. He's gonna twirl him a little bit. You know, you can push him away.
Well, it's also they kind of left. Like we go in, they leave, and then they come back.
Yeah,
and we
it's
don't
so
have
easy
cooldown.
for them to escape because they have a speed and they have a rally, right?
Right.
Right, he made a
It's hard
shout.
for us to lock them down.
Right.
And then after we already make that mistake of like trying to go in on something that we can't really lock down, they can re-engage very easily. And we've already engaged with like multiple resources like speed, maybe even speed,
Dash and
fortify,
form,
speed, twirl, whatever.
javelin spin.
Yep.
right.
And then it's just like downhill from there.
So you're saying you use cooldowns to engage. They didn't get enough value out of the using the cooldowns proactively, so then you guys kind of get screwed. I mean, that's the nature of some cooldowns, right? Like engaging with spin, what does it do? It allows you to walk forward without taking as much damage. But is that going to be worth using the cooldown on a tempo or proactively? Maybe, maybe not. Okay, so then what adjustment did you guys make then? I can probably guess, but...
We eventually ended up switching comp because I mean, the team that we were playing, we wanted to try like the comp with Iari, but this team, I think they were like practicing for something, so they said no Iari. So we were kind of like trying to figure out what.
It's banned for
place
CGL, I
Iari
think, or at least for a period.
Yeah, no, it was BA
Well,
actually.
The first week she's gonna be disabled or something like that.
Yeah.
So we had the Lucio, and I think just because we had Lucio, we were under like I said before, like the default instead of just kind of walking.
We got
in,
Lucio,
trying
we
to
got to
take
speed
initiative.
in.
Exactly that. But and also like I'm not a support player and I'm on support in this map, so I'm trying to figure out my positioning and it's trying to get around to where I want to stand, how I want to not get dove, how I want to be effective, and obviously do the BAP thing and do damage and healing effectively. So at the beginning, we're kind of still in this Brawl League sort of aspect. I feel like we're taking too many resources for both of our supports to kind of like balance out our damage and our healing and our utility. And then eventually, once we get farther, we switch up the comp. We figure out that we want to play more reactionary. We find positions where we're going to get dove less often and kind of be screwed over less often. And I feel like that kind of lets us play the comp in the way it's intended and play based off what they do instead of trying to take our initiative.
Sure. And you could set up traps. You can think about like, we are going to set proactivity by the second that they do anything, this is what we're going to do. You know what I'm saying? It could be controlling space, or it could be controlling an off angle. It could be reacting to anything that the tank line or DPS line uses. So that makes sense. Now, why this map though? What happened this map?
This specific map or this
map,
around?
specific map, or just this specific map? Really.
Okay, so you're talking about Garden.
Yeah, or just whatever. Just Lijiang Tower. Why did you guys want to look at
Okay.
this overall map, whether it's Garden or not?
I mean, I would say it's because it had the most area for we were close enough to where one or two things changed and we could maybe win, versus other maps there was a lot more things that needed to be fixed in order to do well.
Okay.
This map was very specific things change, and if we focus on those specific things, we could go from we're losing to we're winning, versus
Sure.
the other maps, we could go from losing badly to losing less bad, I guess.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. Anything else before we actually take a look, y'all?
I don't think so.
Okay. Let's take a look.
All right, here it goes.
Rotating to point. Sombra on the angle. How does this composition function positionally wise?
Oh, I got this.
Oh, here we go.
Alright, so I got this philosophy, right? It's the capital Y period formation, right? So you have your BAP and your Lucio should be like the top of the Y, right?
Yep.
And then Bastion connects the two tops, and then
Mhm.
Orissa's at the bottom, and then
Makes
the
sense.
Sombra's just the period doing whatever.
Okay. Sounds good. What's the why that setup? Because you guys are kind of already doing it here, no? Like, so why is that set up?
It's to keep Blazio alive forever because he's got support from his supports. Supports aren't really.
It also makes it so our Bastion can't get poked out as easily because there's a big Orisa in front of him.
Sure.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to use form reactively. He can poke pretty aggressively.
There's enough space for me to like help Blazio in frontline and for our supports to help Blazio in frontline, but we're still far away enough so then Queen Comp doesn't like run into our face instantly and die. Even
Makes
though that's
sense.
what happens.
Makes
but,
sense.
like,
Okay, but in theory, now what's the deal with the Sombra on the angle? What's the purpose of the Sombra?
Sombra. She hacked.
Wooden Lion. That's all I'll say.
Sure. Sure.
Sombra's just.
I mean, listen, we don't normally play like, okay, if we're gonna play this comp, we would probably, even if we did have a Sombra, we would have it like a DPS player, because this was when only 5 people showed up to the scrim, so we didn't have our usual people to
Makes
play.
sense. Makes sense. Okay. I'm a fan. I mean, we could put Sombra out to contest their DPS. We could have Sombra hacking their backline as they try to push to kind of force the split, kind of take the legs out from the push, for lack of a better term. But let's take a look here.
Yeah, it's possible.
So, first things first. What is potentially the issue with the way that these things are being synced here? Do you guys kind of see what's happening on the screen right now?
Yes.
Yeah, our Sombra's in, and then we're getting dove by their Sombra, and all of us are on there, or all of us are kind of like grouped up together. We can only react to their Sombra tracer.
So we're taking an engage right now, right? Maybe not a hard engage, but a soft engage. So what's the problem with what's happening with 4 of the team?
Well, we're not in a
we are
position.
not in position for our Sombra to.
Right. Now, do we need to dive or push them?
No.
No. But what do you need to be doing?
Be
Pressuring them.
Something. Right. Shoot them. You don't even need to use your Bastion form here. Your turret form. You just walk and shoot. I don't care if it's Sombra. I don't care if it's Tracer or Queen. But there is value to be found here that if it's not matched with value elsewhere, you're screwing up. Because what's going to happen, your Sombra's going to get cleared, and they're going to hard push. And if you don't also clear their Sombra, or also force Blinks, or force Amp, or force Shald, or something along those lines, then your Sombra value will be wasted, and you'll take a naked 4v5 immediately afterwards. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So whose responsibility is it to call this?
Mine, but also our Sombra.
Sombra,
Yeah.
right? Because the Sombra's the one's dictating this engagement, right? Even if it's just a poke engagement. So, does your Sombra player have a mic and console?
No.
We got pings.
Yeah, we have ping. Usually, how it worked in the past was I would say, okay, well then ping when you're ready to go, ping, and then I'd be like, okay, we're gonna walk up and shoot this person. That's ping.
Okay.
And then I would kind of like call for both. That kind of
Sure.
makes sense. Or at least that's how we did it in the
Sure.
past.
Sure, and that's fine too. You could even have your Sombra ping, and then you guys call go when you want your Sombra to go. That works too. But this is rough. This is rough. Because now Sombra's out. What did we get? Maybe a BAP shift? Nothing, right? Now our Sombra's being pushed. Sombra's being really pushed. And now they're going to be able to walk forward while we're busy pocketing our Sombra, who's literally doing nothing, onto our front line. You see that?
Yes.
And for example, why is my Orisa getting chunked here? Where's my Orisa support?
'Cause I'm feeding, as usual. Like,
I mean, yeah.
I probably tried to push too aggressively when I didn't need to. That was exactly what it is.
You're BAP, yeah?
Yeah, I was bad. I think I saw the Sombra and I got.
You
distracted
see
by
you
the
see what I'm
ping, so-
saying? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
while this is happening. It's a disaster. It's a disaster.
Yeah.
So this has to be called. Sombra has to go. Okay, Sombra's out. So here's a good question. Even if you guys mess this up, Lazito, if you know your Sombra's out, how do you play this?
Safe. We have no ready to go on anything without our Sombra at least forcing something, so
Right.
we can have to like tank and engage.
Right. Now.
By me pushing up here, I'm doing pretty much nothing.
Right.
I'm poking and getting 0 value. Instead, I should be playing safe. And
Right.
yeah.
Right, exactly. Even if this was not a Sombra, even if this was playing with like a Mei and a Bastion or a Cassidy and a Bastion, if you have somebody who's out of the fight, that's not a time to take a trade. Even if it's just a cooldown trade. Because you're thinking about this and you're like, oh, I'm not going to die here. Yeah, but you're going to demand a lot of healing. And now that our Sombra's healed back up, she might be saying, hey guys, let's hack this Tracer. That's when you would need to walk on the point and contest point, right? While we're hacking the Tracer. But you don't have the HP for that just yet. You just got it now. But look who was contesting point instead of you. Your Bastion.
Bastion.
Your Bastion, right?
The Y comp is messed up.
Right, your Y is screwed up, guys. This is the ugliest Y. This is preschooler Y, right? So everything. This kind of goes back to like everything goes back to like synchronizing your pressure, synchronizing your engages, finding the person that needs to communicate that, and being able to make a play around that, right? Because if you don't, everything starts to fall apart. Now you're pushing here.
Yeah, this is when we wanted to like call an engage on with our Bastion form or something.
Sure.
I'm trying to remember the comms exactly, but we were like, okay, well, let's push up
Like,
here
go
because the
JQ, I
point was
think.
like,
You see the problem?
yeah, because the JQ or something she had used. I don't know.
Yeah, but you see the problem.
But
We
our
got
Sombra was not there to
Spin,
follow up with us, so we're
Bastion,
taking a 4v5.
Sombra's not ready yet.
Yep.
So we're starting the fight down one already.
You're starting the wind down one, right? And what's happening, the reason why this is so bad is because look at your backline, right? Your backline's getting traded, right? At the very least, you should be trading their backline. But that's not going to happen. Why? Because is the BAP under any pressure right now? No.
No.
Or at least
our
half
Sombra
pressure.
not
Half
there,
pressure.
and we are
right?
not. Yep.
So Sombra is now there now.
I think he actually does die here, though.
Sombra's there now, but look at your turret form.
Yeah, our turret form's ending. He killed Bat, but
This turret form lasts ridiculous long. But yeah, at least half of that. I mean, even think about it like here. We go for a nade first. Like, do you see, look what you're doing. Your Bash is turning around for the first second of his turret form, right? It's a goof up. You guys have to see, so even if you're playing second, even if you're playing passively here, this is not, we need to go first, we need to set tempo. The idea is that whether you're reacting to what the enemy team is doing, or whether you're proactively punching them in the mouth, not even hard committing, but just going for a cooldown cycle, you have to synchronize that pressure. Because the thing is Orisa by herself forces no cooldowns. Bastion turret by himself maybe forces a cooldown, but not enough. Sombra by herself maybe forces a cooldown, but not enough, right? You apply those together, not only do you know, the sum of the parts is more than them individually, right? However that phrase goes, right? A hack plus turret form plus Orisa pushing is going to do more than force 2 or 3 cooldowns. It's going to force everything, and will be the break point to get kills. You'll boil over. Right? They'll use shift, lamp, shout, and still maybe somebody dies. Right? So even if we're looking at this from the perspective of we don't care about peeling our backline, whatever, let's go kill theirs, we should be able to do that. We're not going to be able to do that right now. At least not until way too late. At which point in time, like this JQ should already be dead because the BAP should have been dead 5 seconds ago. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then okay, as ugly as this fight goes, okay, our backline's dead. Then at the very least, we could have actually traded better here. Now Sin's not here, right?
I'm here.
Yeah, he got hacked. We were
Yeah.
Okay,
well,
so
you might hear here.
hacked.
Okay.
Okay.
got hacked. That's just how it happened.
Yeah.
I kind of gotta. I
Got hacked.
He got Tracer Sombra.
I will say, given the nature of this composition, I think you can kind of see the psychology here, where it looks like to me, Sin is, even look at the way Sin's camera is, it looks like we're like kind of thinking about pushing here. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Even your
That's-
back,
that was the call, wasn't the time.
look at your Batiste's positioning as well. You guys see this? This is a push position. What's the problem with that?
Lucia's not in it.
Right. Do you guys even need to push here?
No.
No.
I mean, not necessarily.
All you guys need to do is
We're still waiting for our Sombra.
Right. And even if your Sombra was ready, what does a push look like for a Bastion?
Turn the corner.
Turn the corner.
Says
Turn the corner. What about an Orisa? Now, Orisa definitely you might push a little bit, you know, walk, but it's not like you're gonna run all the way in here necessarily.
It's not like I'm trying to get on top of them.
Right.
I need to be in
So
melee
then
distance.
supports. What's your priority here?
Keep him alive.
Keep them alive. Do you need to be here to keep them alive?
No, because they're not going to be out of LOS.
So, Bap Lucio, what's your focus right now? What's your priority right now?
Not
the
die,
fuck
like
alive.
a good
Stay alive, right? You don't need amp speed. You don't even need like all this healing that we're doing on this Orisa. Worthless, right? Worthless. This is your priority right now, right? Keep yourself alive.
Yeah.
Keep these 3 people alive as 2 people, and then like let's say you force a locator, you force a recall, you force a Lucio out, whatever. Then we push, right? Win the trade here. Your whole mindset here is like you guys were talking about like this habit of push. It's reflecting in your support play.
Yeah, I think a major problem actually is we only have 2 gears. We have one gear which is we're in park, and another gear which is we're in 4th gear full throttle.
Exactly.
Where we're amping in, and we're not really getting those in betweens where we're like turn the corner, let's get like a few races out, or like hey, let's try and poking on this target.
Right.
Or, hey, let's go pretty aggressive here, get a cooldown, then leave.
Right.
We're always like, okay, all in or all out.
Right, exactly. Now that would change if we turn this hero into a Reaper or a a Moira, right? All of a sudden now what do we want to do?
win all the time.
Well, but maybe all in or all out. Why? What's the nature of Reaper? How does he play?
Till he, we have a Reaper.
I mean,
guy.
this is you. This is all the Reaper guy.
You rush.
Right. A Reaper doesn't do value peeking at this range, right? Now, if they were point blank, you could peek and get value. That would work. But within this far away, you would need to actually close the distance for you to get value. These guys don't need to close the distance. Play your range, right? Just peek. That's value. That's pressure. And while we're doing that, my Lucio is canceling hack. My BAP is shooting tracer or lamping or shifting. You know, these guys aren't under pressure. Stop it. You know, don't force this in when there's no reason for that. Your composition doesn't need to. Now, let me pivot things up a little bit. All right, one more time, I promise. They are on Sigma Hanzo Widowmaker. I'm Li Zhang Karn.
Yeah.
What's the play?
Unlikely.
Is a peak a good cooldown trade for you guys?
No, not at all.
No.
We sit and wait.
Oh,
for
that is
them,
horrible.
Make them push.
Yes, make them walk onto point, right? They have to contest point. Then what do you do? Execute it. Tell me the details. Where would Sombra be?
So I'm gonna be on that left side, like on the left corner. You know where you see Sombra now? You can be right on that
Here?
left corner there, and right when they push you, get a hack,
On who?
and we can run past the Sigma. Or
Sure.
you can hack on if you said they're on BAP or
Sure.
Zen or
You,
something like that.
you get my point, right? The idea
One
of
of
the
those-
comp. Right. Sniper, some sort of spam.
Yes.
Right. Get on backline. So what about my BAP, Lucio, Bastion, Orisa? What's the plan?
Once we get the
We
hack,
can-
we just go on the hack
you
person.
just
You have
Going hard.
speed. You can
Send
go
it.
past the Sigma.
So
Past the Sigma.
our Orisa that we told not to peek or not to push should be javelin spinning in, right? All the way in.
Yes.
Javelin spinning.
Yep.
Lucio, what should Lucio do?
Amp.
Amp.
Send it in.
Amp in and be with the Orisa.
Amp or just full Reddit, right? Full in.
Yeah.
You know, BAP just kind of does his own thing, but you guys kind of see what I'm saying, right? So like this is kind of what we're talking about. You don't need to play faster because you're on a Lucio comp. You just need to understand the range of your composition. For example, if you're playing versus snipers, right, and these snipers are all out here, you don't necessarily have to push the snipers. You could just keep taking cooldown trades on their tank, right, and win that short range duel, right? But if they were, for example, not playing in short range, you would have to find some way to close the distance. Right? That's it. Now, if you look at the situation here, do you have any reason to close the distance versus these guys? No, you don't need to. So stop forcing it. Shoot them in the face. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
And then obviously the big takeaway is whatever you do, decide, at least have the dignity to sync that pressure up. Because that's the big one there. That was ugly as sin there.
Damn.
You did the
I'm
wrong
hungry.
play. It could have worked if you'd actually done it.
Yeah. That's a major issue for our brawl comps. We kind of play it the same way. Like we don't adapt enough based on what comp they have. So if we were to see, okay, we're on this comp, we want to go aggressive, but then they have this position where we can't, and we're like, okay, let's just go with the plan anyway, even though
mean,
it's
you're
not
doing it again.
necessarily good.
You're doing it again, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Yep.
I will say, what's the difference between this trade and the last trade? It's the bad play. It's not optimal. However, what?
All of
Yeah.
us are there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Now,
all
maybe-
5 of us are on the angle against 2 people.
Right. Now you are
Because
gonna get crossfired by Bap, Sombra, Lucio, everybody. You're probably still going to lose this fight, but at least this looks better. Now I want to see what Sombra does here. Probably would have been happy if Sombra just, yeah, I would have been happy with just a hack on Bap, to be honest. I don't think you need to be on the same target. It's all about the same timing, not the same target, right? So if our Sombra hacks Bap and that Bap isn't healing or shifting himself or looking at the Sombra, that's more damage than the Sombra would do hacking the Junker Queen, right?
The Junker Queen's already shouted, so she doesn't need she can't. You don't need to cancel
the
the
damage
shout.
boost is only for your Sombra, so what's the point? You know, so like exactly. So this is fine, and it's not a surprise that she dies. But I'm also not gonna be surprised if you guys still lose this. Case in point.
Yeah, then the EMP, we just
Right. So I respect the teamwork there. I don't respect the fight plan or your approach to the matchup. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Okay. But you could see like that it was objectively better than the first fight. Objectively better.
Yeah.
here
So
goes
we
the
have a
post.
mindset where it's like if the plan is shit, it can be shit. But if we all do it at the same time, it has a higher chance of succeeding.
Right. And the key thing is that you guys need to understand is that you're good in this circumstance. It feels a little bit like, well, of course, we shouldn't have been running it down mid. But in the moment, it's going to be hard to make these reads on the fly because, for example, how often do you guys see Bap, Junker Queen, Sombra Trace, or Lucio comps?
Actually, not as often. Actually, more often than you think.
Right, but how
Especially
often?
this team. That's kind of their like main comp.
Okay, give me a percentage though, like 50% of the time.
Yeah, I think that's
Right.
fair.
Right.
When they're on Queen, if they're gonna play a Queen comp, 50% of the time it's
Sure. But what if they're not on that? What if they're on the 50% of the time they're on something else? What if you play a team that completely throws something else? Like you guys have to like practice making reads, but you also have to practice just not making the perfect read, but just being able to commit to a read. Like for example, if you guys look at this and you're like, guys, we need to close the distance, the Batiste and Junker Queen will poke us out. That's the wrong read. But if you make it and you try it, then at least you're practicing it, right? Because the problem is if you look at this and you're like, guys, we need to rush it, but you guys don't actually sync it up, you don't really ever know if it was the right play or not. Like we could look at that last play and say, you know what, guys, I think that was probably the wrong play because we did it reasonably well and it still didn't work. Now maybe EMP complicates things a little bit, but I don't think it worked. But it was a good try, guys. We gave it due diligence, right? The problem with the first fight is what did you learn about the matchup from that first fight?
We don't need a hard engage.
Nothing.
And then we just hard engage.
Right, nothing. And you didn't even hard engage well, right? You had no Sombra. So what did we learn? What did we theory craft and experiment? No, we learned nothing. We learned nothing because our testing grounds were crappy. So you can't learn anything. So go into this fight and play spammy. Go into this fight and play run it down because you're gonna play versus a matchup and you're not gonna know what to do. So at the very least, make it productive by experimenting with good teamwork. Does that make sense?
So you're saying trying, like even if we fuck up one way, it's not making sense to us. If we keep trying different things, eventually we're gonna see something that works better than the last. Right?
Exactly. If you do it
Or at
with
least
good
we'll know what to do.
If you do it with good teamwork, that's the key thing. If you keep trying things, but you're trying them with poor timing, poor communication, you're not going to really know whether it was a good plan or not because you're never giving it, you're not doing it correctly, right? It's like saying that like, Mexican food is nasty because all you eat is Taco Bell. Are you sure? Like you've never really had Mexican food. Now, if you go to a high-end Mexican joint and it still tastes terrible, then maybe it's just not for you. But at least give it due diligence. Right now, you guys are saying, okay, tempo is not the play. But you guys never really gave, outside of last fight, Tempo a good shot. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then we give Tempo a good shot this fight, and now we know, okay, maybe Tempo isn't the play.
Right,
Let's play
right,
more
right.
rangy. Let's play more spam.
Right. Now you could
Try and
also
get
say,
cooldowns up.
okay, well we lost last fight because they had 2 ults and we had 0. So let's try it again. Let's try it when we have an ult advantage or we're neutral in ultimates. But again, let's time it well. You guys kind of see what I'm saying? But you're learning when you're doing that. If you're not doing that, you're not learning. You're just guessing.
Yeah, because we're not adapting at all.
Right, exactly. Because my point is that it's not always obvious which one's better. And in fact, it's not always important that you get it perfectly right. Like, let's replace that Sombra with a Cassidy. You know what I'm saying? Now what?
We can play more range, right? We don't have to focus too hard.
Oh, we
Maybe,
do more range,
maybe.
Or-
But it's tricky though, right? It's kind of like who pokes more, Orisa or Junker Queen? Shrug your shoulders. You don't know, right?
Right.
It's more about which team executes better, which team chooses their fight plan better. Maybe you guys both play slow, and then it becomes something. Which team plays it better? Which team takes better angles, right? Which team peaks better off of, right? So you know, you kind of see my point though. It's not always going to be obvious, so do it well. So what's the problem right now?
Sombra's completely out of the
Sombra's
fight.
completely out of the fight.
we're Sombra Tracer's out.
You
we're
know what's
trying
funny?
to window and go aggressive.
Yeah, if your Sombra was thinking here, like, I'm gonna hack this Tracer and like keep her distracted so that we can focus on BAP window, is that a decent fight plan?
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not optimal, I would say,
It's
but it's
okay,
something.
yeah.
It's something, right? But she's doing nothing here, nothing, right? And I know I'm harping on your Sombra player here, but the reason why that's really important is because you're not always going to play comps where everybody's grouped up together. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna play spam comps. You're gonna play a rush comp with a Cassie on a flank or a hunt. Just because it's Woodland Lion right now doesn't mean that it's Woodland Lion's problem. It's probably a team problem, regardless.
Yes.
You know what I'm
for
saying?
sure. I agree.
Yes.
Whether it's dive, brawl with a different DPS player or anything, it could be. That being said, I mean, even here, it's a little bit off. Check this out. Check this out. Watch this really carefully. Tell me what the issue is here. Watch really carefully.
Timing's off.
Timing's off. I mean, guys, this needs to be a one-shot. Come on.
Yeah.
You guys, this isn't a plat level thing. Like, so what should be fired right now as soon as this BAP window goes?
Grenade,
right?
javelin.
Immediately.
You can get through everything.
Right, grenade. Literally, even doesn't matter if it hits Junker Queen or not. It's 200, whatever, 60 damage, something like that. 280 damage.
Yeah. if you hit
Like that is a.
connect,
I mean, come on, guys. That is such a huge miss, and it's not even hard. 3, 2, 1, bam. You know, make it happen. And,
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You gave them so much time to react. Look at that.
And to respond. Yeah.
Right?
And then they're safe again, and it's like.
Right, exactly. So
Yeah,
even,
even though we cap point there, we don't get any value off the window. other than
exactly,
that. And
exactly,
they can just-
exactly. So Samra keeps a Tracer off your back. You guys do get point flip here. Now I'm a little scared
Well,
here
we're
because
only living.
yeah, because your Samra's really out. Your window's about to expire, and you use turret. I'm scared. You missed your opportunity to get value. This is scary.
Mhm.
Now here's a question: is this a well-timed hack? This is tricky. I want you guys to think very carefully before you answer, because this is very important when we were talking about the tempo. All right.
I think it's. I mean I don't know. I think it could be because now BAP's
Well,
distracted
they're
and-
engaging on us right now. Like they just hacked
Right.
2 of us. They're looking to go aggressive. Like they have multiple angles at the Tracer Samba, and their BAP wants to get an aggressive angle as well. But I mean,
'Cause-
I would say it's not the best hack, but it's an okay hack.
I think the timing's
I-
good. It's just we just used all of our resources, so
Yeah,
Okay.
so we're out
and
of
now
sync.
they're pushing on us.
So these are one of the few times where I'm going to tell you objectively that this is the correct play. Reason why
Okay.
is because when we talk about tempo, we've always talked about we go. But what if we don't want to go? What if we want them to go?
This
What if,
like
right?
slows them down, no?
This completely cripples their push.
they don't. Yeah, they don't.
What
have
is
the
Lucio supposed to do right now?
Speed in.
He wants to go in. He wants to go aggressive.
So what does
Wants to
Lucio
go
do?
back.
Where does he want to go? Does he go back? Does he go forth? You kind of see what I'm saying, right?
Right.
Yeah,
so
they
then-
has to choose.
Right. So what this Sombra has done is just saved your butts potentially, because she's cut off a
Yeah.
huge amount of pressure, whether healing damage or whatever, while you were being pushed. Now, why is that important when you guys were talking about tempo? Because what is good timing when you're pushing? Obviously, when you do things, do it together, right? But what if you're not the one setting the tempo? What is good timing?
The timing is
It's-
like, so if they're taking tempo, we need to split their team when they do, so that we can
Right.
tank the tempo and then reverse
Right.
the fight.
Tempo
'Cause
is
if they're Lucio Peels, it's going to be a 4v3 in main. We can live,
yes,
and then they're going to be out cooldowns, and then we can take the fight
Yes.
back towards the point.
Yes.
and win it.
Good timing is just either when you do something, you do it together, or when they do something, do it together. You get it? Is there a fight
Yes.
happening right now? Yes. Is your Sombra doing something? Yes. Good
Yes.
timing. You get it? So
There we go.
that's perfect.
Yes.
And that's important because we're talking about playing second tempo here. If you guys wanted to sit on point first fight and not even peek and just wait for them to engage on you, and your Summer's literally just sitting in invis, waiting. They start to push hack back, that would have been perfect.
That's
You guys-
a great play.
You guys kind of see what I'm saying? And that's something to keep in mind. You guys, timing doesn't rely on you being the one to take action. It could also be on the enemy team and you responding to what they're going to do. So this is good. And so let's see what happens. Uh-oh.
Get burst out.
You see?
And
You see?
Lucio
Look at the
Lucio
Lucio.
turns.
Lucio back.
Yeah,
Bap
he's- yeah.
turns. This is great. Now, I don't know why we lost this one here. Because at least in theory, we should be okay. Oh, do we get lamp in time?
Yeah, we should get lamp in time. But
Yeah, that's
I
a,
mean, not you. We don't.
But,
no,
but,
we
but,
don't get lamp.
but do you see how like just a lamp here, or for a little
Yeah.
bit cleaner, forcing Tracer Sombra? This doesn't feel scary at all. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't really feel scary. I mean, look at our Orisa. Look at everybody's HP. Like we're pretty much fine. Like, and we didn't even have our turret, and we totally wasted our ultimate, and it still didn't really feel scary, right? That's it. I mean, that's it. I mean, the Junker Queen is still might die, right? Like this, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's a huge play from Summer. Okay. So obviously a little bit of a miscue with a cooldown usage there. We took us way too long to clear out the Sombra lose. Oh, Tracer. Oh, and by the way, that's another little support thing too. When we know that we're not going to be pushing because we messed up and we used our cooldowns, what should our Batiste and Lucio be focusing on?
Not dying.
DPS.
Not dying. Again,
Not
denying
dying.
the enemy engaged.
Broke out the DPS.
Right here, right?
Yeah.
This is way too passive. Way too passive. Your aura is massive.
Yeah.
Get rid of this guy. Your aura will hit everybody. Get him out. Get him out. It is crazy to me that this happens.
And he just pokes on.
I mean, he is just standing
much.
on the back line, shooting and shooting and shooting. If he was doing that over here in front of his BAP, I get it. He's on your back line. Get this guy out. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Get him out.
Yeah.
Okay. A little bit of micro there, I think, but worth pointing out. Okay. Are we going to set tempo? Are we going to react? I think really either one can work here. If you guys want to try and set tempo because you guys have EMP and beat and Orisa ult, you guys notice that ultimates complicate things. Yes, you can push if you have
'Cause
the
you can
ultimate score.
take-
Yeah, but you could also react, right? They use JQ, you beat, you EMP, maybe try to one-shot somebody before they beat. You also have your Orisa ult. I mean, Orisa ult's a great one. Orisa ult could be used to push. Orisa ults could be used to counter a push, right? There's lots of ways of looking at it. So let's see what happens.
I believe this fight we were trying to like push in with a Bastion or something, Orisa ult, Bastion Orisa ult or something like that, and
No.
it did not work out.
Bad fight
and
plan.
They think that they
Bad fight plan. Why?
We're
Because
pushing.
He's gonna get cut out.
Right.
We're pushing. They have
It's-
like we're not gonna get any
A
kills.
tragedy.
We're not gonna get any kills.
I think it's more of a bad fight plan because who are you ulting on here?
We could probably get a JQ and
Maybe.
maybe if we're lucky a Lucio.
Maybe.
Maybe if we're lucky a Lucio. That's
Maybe.
it. Two
Maybe.
people.
Right. But that's my
And he
main
has
point.
beat, so I mean.
So ignoring the whole pushing idea, I just don't think that you're gonna get much with the gold anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're too split. And it's just gonna get lamped. So if not beat. Oh
Yeah,
jeez.
so-
Now again, if you
Yeah,
were
we're
to do
so-
this
yeah.
properly, guys.
Don't look at it. Don't look at it. Don't look
Guys,
at
my
it.
my Summer's not even on the back line. She's running with you guys. So this is just a
Yeah.
disaster. Oh,
This is
my
a tragedy.
days.
We get sold.
my
We get the
days.
queen. She shots
Oh
up.
my days. So
They
yes,
beat and, yeah,
not
we
a
lose
not a
everything.
good fight plan. We get split on our timing, and we also get probably the worst target for that. I mean, obviously Sombra Tracer are worse, but like JQ is just too fast. Amp speed or shout.
Yeah,
and she's
the problem is we can't really get
Ignore
anything
that.
with it. Yeah, we were.
I
We
see-
had the wrong plan. We should have been trying to react to them instead of trying to push aggressively.
Or-
because
or
we're not going to kill anything.
Or if you're
Yeah.
gonna push with better timing, and respectfully, don't push with Bastion ult on a Risol onto a tank. That was just a bad fight plan. Even
That
without
was
the
a
ult
bad.
combo
That
thing.
was a terrible idea.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Any
that
questions
was
so
probably
far?
the worst map.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
one question.
Please.
So I was just thinking like, so most of the time like we kind of catch ourselves in problems like you were saying where we just have like the worst cooldown trade-offs, right? Like where we kind of just
Mhm.
we tend to. I feel like it's because we use our cooldowns in a way that's usually to take initiative instead of responding to initiative. Because
Sure.
like, we'll put a lot of resources going in, and they happen to have like the better response. And let's just say like we javelin spin and amp speed, but they boop our Orisa. Like that's 2 for 1 already.
Yeah,
feel
I
like that
get you.
happens
I get you.
a lot. So I mean,
Yeah,
I
and then
feel
they
like
kite
that's
out with
like a
temp
big
speed.
issue that we kind of see. Is like a lot of it is just kind of like getting fucked on like cooldown trade-offs, and then we're just already at disadvantage for like the rest of the. Because I know like obviously with this you don't want to take initiative, and then when we take initiative and lose cooldown trades, we're just the fight's pretty much over, right? So I
Sure.
feel like that happens a lot.
Sure. What I would do is I would look at the composition and look at the matchup too, and be like, of what value do we get out of using a cooldown aggressively? Like for example, look at their comp. If they proactively wall off your Orisa, what is that going to force?
Fortified and more maybe.
Yeah, right. It's going to be a good cooldown trade, right? It works well,
Yeah.
right? What about you
1
guys?
for 2.
What about you guys? If you guys just generally press W here, what's going to happen?
We're
here?
gonna force.
Okay, here's a
Ramatra
question.
form shield.
Sure,
They
sure,
will-
sure. So you can look at this and be like, okay, do we get more value out of pressing W versus kind of like playing more reactively? But the other question you should be asking is not just do we, but how do we? So if you guys wanted to set tempo in the previous matchup on Garden, how should you use Sombra Hack? How should you use Javelin Spin? How should you use Amp Speed? You guys kind of get what I'm saying? Because if you can answer those questions, you'll know about whether whether it's a good strategy or not. Because it kind of looked like we didn't really know what to do with our Sombra. It kind of looked a little bit like we didn't really know what to do with our nade. Even our nade, right? Like if we are able to push and throw a nade at the BAP while our Sombra's on the hack, that's a great push little tool. Is that good enough to justify pushing into that comp? I don't know. But at least, again, it kind of goes back to what we were saying. It gives the composition a good fighting chance to test, right? Whereas if you guys are just generally pressing W brainlessly, that's not helpful. Like what if my Orisa says, I'm going to walk out, Javelin Spin open, right? Close this distance, get all up in their grill, hold space with Fortify and Javelin, and then have Javelin Spin again afterwards to kind of keep them stuffed in that choke. Would that be good versus their comp? Maybe. But you see, I'm like specifically theory crafting how I want to use my cooldown so that I could push more effectively. I'm not just blindly pushing.
Yeah, our team doesn't do that. We like played kind of, I think, similar way every time.
Right.
Well, yeah, well, that's what we're saying. We play a similar way every time. So we're like, okay, we're on Brawl. They're on. We don't really think about like the micro, like, okay, what they have different ability here. They have a different character here. We're kind of like, okay, we want this space. Like, we want to take white.
Just
so
run
let's
it
go
down.
aggressive. We don't really think about
Right.
what the specific interactions are.
Right, and I think it can be very, like, I know that's a very complicated way of looking at it, but it doesn't have to be complicated. For example, as Blazito, if we want to push here, I don't need to tell my team how I'm using my cooldowns. I just do them. I do them the best possible way for me to hold space forward aggressively. If I'm Woodland here, how do I use my turrets? Do I flank right? Do I beam down main? I mean, I don't know. Like, what's the best way that you want to push versus this? Do we Bastion? Do you grenade immediately when you see Ram Shield? Probably not. You gotta go turret farm, shoot, break shield, nade immediately. That would be a great way to push. How do I use my BAP cooldowns? Lamp first, then shift afterwards? You guys kind of see what I'm saying though, right? Like you guys can take individual responsibility. If we call to push, if we call to play reactively, then think individually, okay, how should I use my cooldowns? How should I position? Because the answer is I don't know. Because I don't know that you guys should push into this, but if you're gonna push into it, do it right. And let's see if you do it right. I mean, the answer is probably going to be no. But like, for example, right now, you see that?
Yeah, I already know Javelin Spin.
No Javelin Spin. So now I don't know if I can actually take the aggressive tempo trade. I'm going to brute force it though.
And I do it. Yeah, I do anyway.
And here's the other question as well.
Walk
When
up with shield.
should you use Fortify?
When probably reactively.
Is now a good time?
If I wanted to, I mean, it would be like 1 second from now would probably be a good time because I know they're gonna push.
Right. Now it gets complicated with like the armor calculations. Old Orisa, you should have already fortified because the armor stacked with the fortify, right?
Yeah, armor stack.
But now it needs to be here. And also, are you actually pushing or are you just holding space? You know,
no, because they got walled.
You know,
we can't take space, and it's
rough. It's rough. So it's okay. You know, lamp, whatever.
We back.
Okay, maybe.
That's
she lives here, doesn't she?
Really.
You know what's actually kind of
she
funny?
shouldn't have died
But you know
that
what?
time,
Credit is where credit is due. Look at this unit. Not bad. It's not perfect, but it's not bad.
They use M1 and everything.
It's tight, but you guys pull it out. All right. Is it time to push if you wanted to push? What do you guys think?
We have to wait for. If we want to push now, it's not. We were waiting for our Bastion turret
He's gonna have it
to
now.
then walk onto point with that. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
so there you
reset
go.
it, like right now.
So there you go. Now here's a
Yeah,
question: what should Woodland Lion do with turret or TP? Excuse me. I know you guys aren't sim players, but think about it.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
could TP on them. We could TP bomb.
You
them,
can?
or, like,
You
TP
can?
bomb them.
You
TP TP like to the high ground across.
Sure
maybe
could.
get a
Is it
crossfire.
that on high ground on right side?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's up there. Yeah,
can
we
pull
could.
Sure
off
could.
of that?
Wasn't that actually the plan? Wasn't that actually what we
That
said
was
to
the
do?
plan.
Maybe so. I mean, even just a solo TP, yeah. Like you guys push front line while your Sem flanks back line. That's super OP with Sem. Yeah. I mean, there's options here. You guys don't have to hard push necessarily. I mean, points about to unlock. Maybe you need to hard push, but if you're gonna do
Yeah,
it,
we're
how does it look?
pushing right now.
How does it look? How does a Sim Bastion team with Orisa push? You know, if you guys can answer that question, you guys are good to go. There's a javelin spin in. There's the fortify afterwards.
And then, yeah, we
probably a
TP'd
little
onto-
early. Probably a little early with a fortify, right? We talked
Yeah.
about that. The other thing here too is what?
We're not
Sim's on their
really.
TPs, bro.
Yeah,
not on a
we're kind of split.
Big target where split.
Yeah, we called TP on the sim. You go on sim
Why is my Lucio on top of my Bastion?
because we're
Oh.
trying to speed our Bastion in on.
Right, but you don't have to be on top of the Bastion for that, correct?
Yes.
guys see what I'm
we got
saying?
Big auras.
And then you can also
Yeah.
look at this and be like, when should our Symmetra go for a TP push?
When they are not immediately, like we gotta
Right.
make them like look at an angle and then TP. Like it's
Right.
like a tracer. You gotta wait 1 second and then they're looking away.
Right. Let the Orisa Bastion take the heat. So again, notice that we're not critiquing you guys for pushing here. That's fine, totally fine. But it's how you're doing it. It's not even necessarily that it's partially the timing. I don't think that you guys are mistiming this that badly. Everyone's grouped up, 3, 2, 1, push. But it's all the details. You know, guys, kind of. It's a great question that you had before this round started because it turns out that's exactly what we're talking about, right? How are we using our cooldowns? Where are we positioning? Who's going first? How are we cycling our cooldowns, right? I would also say target priority here could be a little better here. Ram is generally not a great target if May is available. Even just a forced ice block is
Yeah, we
huge.
just gotta shoot May. Yeah.
Yep.
We gotta pick and then
That's good. That's good.
we flip
Ooh.
with Bastion for him here.
A little bit desynced there. We got to be a little bit tighter with that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay. Sure. Just a guarantee flip. That's fine. Okay.
I mean, that was just all off the back of that one pick and then.
Pretty much, yeah. Nothing honestly
much just-
super spectacular.
Yeah, we didn't really
here.
do anything amazing there. We just kind of got straight
Yeah.
with pick and then.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Now, yeah, I was gonna say here it comes. However, guys, I
They're
want
not
my
in position.
I want my one-shot turret, right? It's 200 damage, you know? Or my turret, what am I saying? My orb, right?
Yeah, the orbs.
It's
So the big
200
orbs.
damage, right? 200 damage. And even without the Symmetra,
Yeah.
right? Where's my Bastion, y'all? Where's my
This was a mistiming.
Where's my grenade? Where's my turret
this was-
form? Where's my javelin?
Yeah.
Okay, with
That was
jav-
once again our back line and our front line are split. 'Cause
Okay.
I was like, okay, we have the window. We want to take. I'd be like, oh, the tempo guy. Let's take tempo here.
Yeah,
with the
he said use window. He said use window right away.
Yeah,
so
he
then
said.
I
So
got
I
it.
see them coming in through the choke, and I'm like, let's use window here to like maybe one shot somebody. But
Let me
we're
teach
not
you
there to
my
do it,
favorite four-letter word, okay? Wait. I mean, really.
I hear that word a lot.
Really?
Wait.
Well, right. Listen, I joke around all the time with my friends. I'm like, I hear you, but I'm not listening. Right? Don't let that
Yeah,
be you.
oh,
Don't let that be you.
that is me.
Don't let it be you. Every time that happens, guys, I want you to just swallow your microphone and scream. Every time it
Yeah,
happens.
I can do that. I
I
will
mean,
do that.
I mean, unironically though, like when this kind of crap happens, like we have to have a little bit of negative reinforcement here. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, just kick him straight from the lobby. I don't know what you got to do, but like this can't happen. It can't happen. It can't happen. It's inexcusable because this isn't just one person like Lion doesn't have the mic. Nobody's ready for this. You know. Nobody important. Our Arisa's ready, but it's Arisa. So it's also Bazito, so really nobody important. But it's like it just doesn't matter, right? You guys kind of see what I'm saying? You guys cannot let this happen. It cannot happen. Because, what is this going to... Oh, we're the ones lamping. Lovely. Now we're turret forming. Oh, these guys are not real. This is AI. I'm convinced.
Oh,
This
tragedy.
is unreal. Anytime anybody asks me what console Overwatch is, I'm just going to slander y'all by bringing this clip up.
This is console Overwatch in a nutshell right there.
I'm messing. Do you know that it's a little bit of selection bias because all the players that transfer to PC generally want to get better, but I have yet to meet a console player that transferred to PC that did not hit at least Masters or Grandmaster. Every single one. I think what it is you guys get onto PC and you're like, oh my gosh, this game is so easy, and you just dominate. I think that's how it is.
Damn, it's time to migrate, I guess.
Yeah. No, I know. Ironically, I console players dominate on PC every time.
I mean, I like that Ryan one chick on
like
PC.
GM3 on like 60.
A GM2 on PC, Ryan one chick.
Yeah.
I'll just run it down mid.
Yeah,
dude.
there you go. Okay, here we go. This will be lovely. Now again, you guys, do you guys kind of notice how like the map control that you're in right now, you're kind of playing reactive. You get that? You're kind of waiting for them to push. Okay, so what are you gonna react with?
We didn't plan that. We didn't think about that.
Yeah,
shocker,
that's
really?
It just happened.
Right.
So what
Exactly,
happens
it just
here?
happened.
So
Well, we
they
used
come
that window,
around.
we didn't get any value, so we get scared back. I mean, that's
right. I mean, that's
we
fine.
didn't
You
really
need to back, but what's the next plan? And okay, let me stop you for a second. Don't even consider ultimates. What would you do? Just neutral trade. What does your comp do?
Play
You
around
can-
bastion rotations.
Sure,
and
right.
Look to force
Right.
when
Yeah.
Right.
force cooldowns out.
So they walk forward. Once they cross a line onto point, we use our turret form, and maybe we go for like a sim flank or something like that. Yeah, maybe a little push with our wrist.
Yeah.
Right. That doesn't have to be complicated, but we're responding. Right now, are they doing anything just yet? Maybe
Yes.
now would be a good time. You guys kind of get what I'm saying? Ignoring our old game, now would be a good time, right? The problem here is that this is a cornucopia of disaster. This makes a Hiroshima look friendly. Yeah, I mean we're just
also-
literally
this
blowing
is-
everything.
Ugliest fight.
Yeah.
We're just literally blowing everything.
Just look at it. It's
Uh,
just
happening?
I mean, let's put it this way: y'all's timing was good. Everybody was doing something at the same time. I just don't know what you were doing.
I don't think we knew what we were doing.
I believe that. I believe that.
I saw the May. I pressed my Y
I
button.
think y'all
and I
called to
pressed
go
Q,
on
and
BAP,
I-
but like they
Yeah,
blizzarded
yeah. So
it,
I think
like,
we were,
going
yeah. So
back
we
lines.
were looking to go
Pretty
aggressive
common.
at the same time. They went aggressive, and we split.
Right. And that's
so then
the
they-
tricky thing, right? That's the tricky thing. So okay, why was my Bastion not pushing
Exalting.
on the Baptiste?
Because
We're
he's
gonna
all
do the Bastion.
I think I have
the
wrong-
Bastion Arissa play,
the
baby.
I have
Bastion-
a wrong vision
Did-
of the Bastion.
Okay, did you? Okay, so wrong. Now also, why is my Symmetra so far away?
He's scared.
It's like a question I can't answer.
My point being here is,
can't
if
answer
the
the question.
plan was to push for Baptiste, I understand the difficulty that you guys have out of like, we're being pushed and pulled in two different directions, but we're not even set up for a BAP push. Look at this. You see what I'm saying? So no wonder we were split before the fight even started. Now, I'm not saying that these positions are bad. In fact, these positions are very good if we're kind of playing more reactively. I actually think this is probably optimal. I think pushing directly into BAP when they have beat is probably stupid, respectfully, right? But if that was the plan, then why are we not set up for it? You get what I'm saying? If our plan was back here, where does Blazito need to be?
Back there.
Where does Ace Man need to be? That's Sinks, that's you, right?
Not where he does on the left. No, Ace Man's Miles.
No, that's
He's
right,
got weird
Miles.
names,
That's
I
right,
don't know.
that's right. Okay, so Miles, where would you be?
I would want to be probably near-ish. I mean, if we're going off our original plan, probably just try to keep my Orisa from dying. But since that obviously falls through, I think probably just try to keep my Bastion up because he's mid
Sure.
in Blizzard.
Sure. So why are you worrying about pushing forward here? You kind of see what I'm saying?
I
This
was
is
like- I
this
was
is not a
sticking with
mistake
mine.
from you, to be very clear. You are not making a mistake right now. You are doing the best with what was communicated with you. But you guys kind of see my point. We're doing two different things at once, so nobody's in position. So my point being is, if we want to play reactively here, let the Orisa hold the corner here. Or even just hold the corner here. Totally fine. Let my Batiste play over here. Let my Batiste play up here, guys. Let my Symmetra just play around. Let my Lucio worry about just kind of peeling off and keeping people alive. If we want to push in, Bastion, first off, we talked about Bastion ult with that. Stop doing that, I beg. But Bastion should probably be up here, stacking really, really tight and walking forward. I mean, is it crazy into Mail? Yes, it's crazy. It's probably not going to work, but at the very least, maybe you guys pop some extra ults on their end. Maybe you one-shot the Batiste, right? You see what I'm saying? So the split happens not because, oh, they dove our backline while we tried to push. No, you were not set up for the plan that you said that you were. You did two different things at once, so the split happens naturally. Does that make sense? You could have very easily played this one slow.
We kind of wanted to go,
Right, go ahead.
It's that we wanted to go at different, like I say, okay, can we go here? And then it's like 2 seconds before we actually need to go.
Right.
So like some people are not in position to go, and some people are, and then the people who are in position to go actually can go.
Right.
The people who aren't are trying to get in that position, but it's already too late.
And that's the key thing.
Moving forward.
So what's the solution then? You guys talk about where we had two different plans, we had two different solutions. What was the real problem there? What was the real error? Was it our positioning? No. Because our positioning was a consequence of what?
Our coordination time.
Okay, so what about the coordination was bad? Where did we mess up with the coordination?
The window at the beginning.
Right, and then what happened immediately afterwards, right? So the window timing was bad. But why was the window bad?
Because we
We
weren't
were all split.
ready for the
our
plan
front
that
line
was put in place.
Right, but why weren't we ready? What did we need to do instead? What did we need to say? Remember the 4-letter word. Wait. Okay.
Wait.
So, okay, we messed up. We waste the window. Unlucky go next. What needs to happen right now? As soon as that plan goofs up. New plan. What are we doing?
New
You guys see?
plan.
And I promise you that was not what was happening. Either that's what wasn't happening,
It
or
came too late.
or it came too late, and or because both can be true. People were not listening closely enough.
Yes.
Because it's hard. Like, you hear the push, and your Symmetra has to immediately think, okay, how do I play around that? You know, do I complement that? Do I go in with it? Do I split? Do I play my life? You know, my Lucio's thinking, how do I position around that? Obviously, we talked about the Bastion too. But yeah, you have to be on that same page. And so the takeaway is that you guys were split because you didn't have a plan fast enough, and you didn't all think about what do I need to be doing to complement that plan fast enough. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at one more fight, which you guys will win despite pushing into 2 ultimates. I am sure. So, what's the fight plan
We're
here?
gonna win this.
Let's find out. No way. Really?
Oh no. No, I don't know.
You have no idea.
He does not remember.
We could win this, actually. I don't even
you
remember.
echo me, and I immediately like, wait, no way. Okay,
We could win this, actually.
you have
No, you just
two.
walk past with this.
You have two options here. I mean, you already know, right? Out or in.
Turn around.
Out or in.
We went in.
This one's really
There's
bad.
one
No!
for the team.
No,
Look where he is, baby.
No, do it in there.
No. The funny thing is like, obviously, like, if it happens, it happens, but you guys could have predicted that this was going to happen, right? Like, you knew they had window. You knew exactly what they're going to do. So what's the plan, you know? And honestly, even if they'd opened with a Ramatra, it's the same thing. Do we kill the guy or do we get out? Like, you don't, like, you have to choose. Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
I
is
was
a
like,
tragedy.
I'll keep pushing. I'm gonna keep pushing.
And it's it. You're done. Like, you're done. You know what? Screw it. Let's watch one more. I'm kind of
This time, wait, we won this, didn't we? Oh no. we
No,
didn't.
this one's 99.99. I don't know how. it
Well, yeah,
went
we
99.99,
actually win this next
but,
time, though.
It comes out somewhere.
Yeah, they kind of went stupid.
Didn't this May just throw it?
Woo!
Yeah, she just sends it.
Yeah, she just threw Blizzard into Narnia.
You guys responded really well, actually. Yeah, that was sick. That was tight. Good TP. Good little off angle here. That Ram's gonna die now.
Yep.
Maybe?
Yeah, he does.
Yep, he does.
Yeah, he does. He does.
He gets a little sniped. That's okay. Keep your cohesion.
Boy, then water flanks and fucks us. That's what happens here.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what happened. We won.
No way. Oh, no. Oh, no, we're good.
Yeah,
We're good. We're
wait.
good. All
Yeah.
good.
I think we still.
Nice. Maybe?
Yeah, she TP's out and they force him to eat Sunny.
Yeah, that's good. And it also forces the sim out, which gives you time to where you're not like taking 1,000,000 damage.
Yeah, this was a crazy fight.
Oh, no way. Use it. Let it rep. 3, 2, 1. Now. There it is. Bam, bam, bam. Little tip with Bastion
Force
ult.
May cooldown.
Do the dance. 1, 2, 3. Always, whenever you can. You get me? 1, 2, pause, 3. Because with the 2, you will force action. With the 3rd, you will execute. You get me?
Yeah.
So if you drop 2 there, the 3rd one did not matter. That's would have forced Ice Block gotten a Lucio to 1 HP anyway. They did the job. So where does that 3rd one go?
Nowhere.
Well, you tell me. Where do you go? What do you do instead?
Oh.
You pop it on whoever you're gonna engage on. If Blitzito wanted to engage and insta kill that Ramatra, he could drop it on Ramatra.
You sure could. You sure could.
Cooldowns. Use a 3rd to execute on those forced cooldowns.
Exactly.
On the ones
exactly.
you're actually gonna push on.
And it actually, I'm going to disagree with one point. You don't even necessarily need to go on the Ramantra. You could go 1, 2 and drop 1 in water. You know,
Yeah.
just cause chaos. Even if you don't even get the kill, it's just cause chaos right there, right? Make them run like ants, like spread the love. You know, once the Maze got
You
ice
just made
block,
it more.
right? Once Maze got ice block out, like what more are you gonna want to do? You know, drop more bombs in an ice block? Like you might as well find value elsewhere. So you could do 1 on May, 1, 2, bam, bam on the May Lucio, and then drop 1 in Ram, or drop 1 in Sim, or drop 1 in Bat. You know what I'm saying? Just a good habit. Nice, good timing. Good little setup there. That was good. That was good. You know what? Screw it. Let's just finish this map. I want to see you guys. I want to see you guys clutch it.
No, we don't touch it.
Oh, you do though. I think you guys are misremembering. I think you guys are misremembering.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I
Win
think
map
so.
3.
I mean, you guys are incompetent,
No,
so
no.
I'm sure you're incompetent at remembering things as well. Oh! Oh! Oh, man.
Simple.
I mean, again, it just.
yeah.
Do you see the problem here? Are we in or are we out?
Yeah, we're out. We're both. We're both.
You know, the bar is in hell at this point.
I also will say the sim wall could be better.
Yeah, I thought the sim wall was gonna be like the other direction.
Like,
So-
here's the thing. This sim wall totally blocks off the BAP window. If you split it, it
Yeah.
wouldn't totally block off the BAP window. Here's an idea. Is this sim wall used to enable a push or enable a kite on the BAP window?
It's
A
enable a
kite.
kite.
Right. So this is why planning is important, right? Guys, they only have, I mean, this isn't even like a 5-volt plant. They only have BAP window, right? So for crying out loud, I should hope to goodness that you guys have an idea about that, right? So that's very important. This sim wall is good for how everybody else played it, but it's terrible for how your Orisa played it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I was thinking we were gonna
Right.
take the corner aggressively there.
Again, that's something
And,
that Lion will be able to figure out if we know what the fight plan is. We're gonna kite window. We're gonna push window, right? Then let him make the decision. Okay, TP top. Symmetra low. Holding
Over.
space. It seemed like we were ready for it. I just think that we didn't play the kite very well, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, so I will give credit where credit is due. We split, we kited, we just didn't play it very well. That's all. That's all right. I can live with that. I can live with that. I think obviously you made a mistake there, Demi, with like how you rotated. But like it happens. It's not that big of a deal. Okay. Let's stop there and let's wrap this up. Questions?
Wait, let me see.
Because we'll wrap up with some goals in a bit, but let's start with questions.
So when the fight immediately ends, I know we're always talking about what went wrong in the previous fight, and we should be talking about or should we be talking about instead what we need to be doing in the next fight?
Yes, talk about what went wrong in the previous fight if it has relevance in the future fight. You kind of get what I'm saying?
Yes.
If it doesn't, let it go.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I think it's important to correct your mistakes, but it's important to also prevent mistakes from happening in the future, and that takes a little bit of backward thinking about what will apply in the future. But if it doesn't matter, if it's not relevant, focus on next fight. Any other questions?
So, oh yeah, I have one. So I talked about it earlier, but the whole mentality, like if even if the play is wrong, if everybody makes that play, even if it's wrong, it could hypothetically be the right play. I mean, because everyone's doing it simultaneously. I don't know. I feel like it can work, But I just feel like more often than not, like we do that a lot. We have a plan and we're like, who cares if the plan is good objectively or not? If we all do it, it'll be fine. But I don't know. I just feel like that really doesn't happen often, and more often than not, it just leads us to put ourselves in situations that are disadvantageous for like the long term. Like that window play, like it's obviously like we don't. I mean, it can work, but the whole objective of it is like if we all do it, it will work. But that never happens. Like 9 times out of 10, that never happens.
You make a great point. I 100% agree. Let me give you guys an analogy. You ever meet somebody in your life where they're like, you know what, people will just talk trash to you. You know, my strategy is just don't care what people think, man. You just don't care. Like people always talking trash about me. They're just the haters gonna hate, and those people are just like the most giant asses you've ever met in your entire life. Right?
Yeah.
It's like I get what you're saying, but you're saying the way that you're saying that is using that as an excuse to justify bad behavior. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Right.
So you're like saying, guys, it doesn't matter. We just need to do it together. Yeah, but also you should aspire to find out what the best play is. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like that should be the goal. You should try to find out what the best strategy or what the best fight plan is. And in addition to that, just trying something to learn something should never be used as an excuse to just do whatever you want. Notice that when we were saying, should we be setting tempo? Should we not be setting tempo? It required what? Really, really good timing, right? Yeah. Really good timing. And people actually listening to each other. So just trying it doesn't mean a lackadaisical approach. No, it means a surgical, focused experiment. Can you imagine if Thomas Edison, okay, again, to use that cringe example, but like, guys, it doesn't matter what type of fuel we use for the light bulb or what kind of filament we use for the thing. We're just trying it, man. We're limit testing while he's wasting hundreds of dollars. You know what I'm saying? No, they wrote down everything. They tested everything. They made notes and they figured out whether this worked or this didn't work or why it didn't work, right? Like, you don't just try random crap. That's not what we're trying to justify here. We're trying to be very specifically test something out. So yes, you are right. Don't just say, guys, if you guys are in the habit of like, guys, it doesn't matter what we do, we just need to do it together. Yes, but do it with perfect timing and aim. And the reason why that's important is so that you can actually learn about whether that's actually the play at all, right? That's the goal. The goal is that's a good short-term mindset, but ignorance is never good long-term. That's not admirable. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Okay. Great question. Any other questions, guys? Okay. Let's try and write this all down. I'm just gonna drop it in this group chat. I don't. If you guys miss a group chat, will expire. Well, not expire, but you know, it's not permanent. But you guys can just take the notes from there. So
someone will copy and paste.
Yeah. So what are some actionable, objective, specific things that you guys can work at? And we don't need a lot of them. We just need a handful.
Learn to wait.
Learn to wait. Learn to call wait as well.
Call wait.
Right? It's on as much the responsibility lies on the shoulders of the person that is not waiting as it is on the person calling the wait. So we can all make fun of Blitz or Blizzito, but it's also our responsibility for not calling wait either. Because when you are on the front line, it is hard to know what's happening on your rump. Okay, that's your responsibility. Okay, so learn to wait, learn to call wait. What else?
Yeah, it's the responsibility of the wrangler to
that is right. That is right. If you're walking the dog and the dog pulls in the chain, it's not the dog's fault. You got to hold the chain. You know what I'm saying? If Blizzito starts barking, you find a new tank.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
It looks like it's too late.
Okay, what else? That's one very important skill.
Okay.
Very, very important.
Next one, we need to...
First place.
Yeah, what? Oh, okay. I was going to say we need to make the plan around what they have, and also... What was I going to say? Oh, God.
Reinhardt concussion.
Yeah, that's exactly what
Too
it
many
is.
charges.
Exactly, brain damage. He's done.
That's fine.
Someone help me out, please.
I don't even know what you're saying.
I don't even know what the fuck you were talking about, fool.
Make plan around ult track ASAP.
Yeah, make a plan, ult track, but also we need to have everyone do the same plan because some of us are not in position for the plan, and some of us are, and then that ends up making us split. Yeah, exactly.
If we're able to do plan.
Okay. Somebody said I like and then got cut off by a rude main tank.
Hey,
Okay, I have one. So, the other one I was thinking was like whole thing like when we're playing reactionary, like comps like that, where we
Yeah.
have to set up traps and like do a lot more reacting instead of acting. I feel like that's a really big one that tend to do regardless of if we're on reactionary or not. Like even in rush, like there's times where you don't want to rush. There's times where you want to react to what they're doing, and we have the head-on thing is our big issue. So I feel like that's a good one. So set up traps and react.
Reaction. How does that look in the Discord channel?
That's good.
Okay.
Good.
Those are the big three, I think. Are there any other details that you guys?
Yeah, I have one last one that I wrote down, which is like synchronizing pressure. I feel like that just like all caps synchronized pressure. I feel like that's a good one.
Synchronize pressure and understand what the purpose of like our heroes and
win
abilities
condition.
are.
Yeah.
No win
Figure
condition.
out like the identity of what the enemy wants to do. You know, figure
Sure.
out what they want to do.
Like,
Sure.
why do we have a Sombra? To hack this guy, whatever.
General was problems through discussion. Ideas to try. Remember the trust discussion, right? Because I sat here and spectated for like 9-10 minutes. I was working on it. I'm in full transparency. I was working on the meme in Paint that I just posted in the channel while I was listening. So I was totally checked out. You know, I was playing Minecraft on an alt tab. But no, but really, like you guys ran point, and it was a really productive discussion, and you guys came up with good conclusions too. That's the key thing. So that do more of that, right? Do more of that. Right? Something actionable, something specific to practice. If you guys have another problem or not figuring out, figure it out. Figure out what you want to try. Yeah. Okay. Any questions since the last time I asked that question? Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate